this episode we have the fantastic community director, Mr. Protagonist.
Hello.
Yes, and so let's jump right into it. So, community things.
The veteran players have had the house to themselves for quite a long time. And as such, they've become very familiar with each other. They've been very comfortable playing with each other. And everybody's been moving up in skill level, kind of in pace with one another. And, the absence of matchmaking and the absence of, or let's say, the absence of skill-based matchmaking and the absence of vast quantities of players means that it's quite likely as a new player that you end up getting bumped in with some wizened old hacks who are going to kick your face in. And that's no fun for a new player. It just isn't. And I know this from my own experience because, obviously I joined the game late and I still play like a rookie now. I've got a bit more understanding than I did. But where you've got a little bit of imbalance, so one or two high-level players on both teams and everybody else is, captains and commodores, it's not too bad. It's pretty good because there's an offset going on in there. But when you've got 2, 3, 4, admiral types on one team and you've got a mixture of people who've got, 2 or less hours played on the other side, they are not going to have any fun because, the game is a methodically paced strategic game, right? So you spawn, you come out of your home base, you trundle along very slowly, you beam to the right area, you trundle towards the base unit, boom, you're dead in 3 seconds. That's not fun. And it's nobody's fault that it's not fun. It's down to it's down to shortage of huge swathes of new players who are all getting the opportunity to play against each other. Now, last week was actually pretty positive. We had good numbers last week. We were getting probably double our number of new players per day come in, and this is off the back of a couple of decently sized YouTubists who'd posted up, kind of a let's have another look at Fractured Space, and out of the 200,000 odd views that they got, we got a good surge of players come through, and we held on to those players because they were able to get, or they had the opportunity to have a much better game experience. Thursday night, our Play with the Dev sesh on Thursday night, where we turned matchmaking on, almost universally, all new players had a better experience. Now, veteran players, you're not going to have a better experience until such a time as, firstly, there's a hell of a lot more of you. So if you take let's say, for the sake of argument, there's 150, 200 experienced players who are, some are better than others, but you're all much of a muchness on the same kind of skill level. Until there's 5 times as many of you, the game's going to get a little bit dull because you're going to end up playing the same people over and over again. And we'll introduce new ships and you'll go, well, that's broken this one and that one's underpowered and this one's overpowered and that power doesn't work and this has ruined that and that's screwed now. And all of that incredibly valuable feedback. But until there's tons of you, you're not going to get emergent metagames coming out of new tactics being tried, of variations, and in order for those new players to become veterans, they need to get the time to actually play it, without being stomped. And again, it's nobody's fault. There's a number of reasons for it. Matchmaking, we think, is going to help. I mean, based off last week's test, we were really happy with last week's test. I know some people felt that it was still imbalanced. What's an admiral doing in with a bunch of captains? Well, I'll tell you, you had an admiral on both teams, and then you had a bunch of captains on both teams. The two teams were balanced. And that's changing. The new player experience that is coming is phenomenal. I've played through, I haven't played through it in the chronological order that it's going to be, but one of the things we introduce early on Well, we haven't announced this yet, so it might change, right? So yeah, there you go. Exclusive. Yeah. Here's something that might change, but it's in there at the moment, and based on what we've played so far, it's really good fun. Is a second game mode. So there's a second game mode, and it's single lane, and it's 3-on-3, and it just allows you to fly your spaceship and shoot things. And it's still got base capture in there, but it's part of the new player experience. Caveat: it might change, but that mode, in some fashion or another, will probably make an appearance. Don't spread the word too hard, but the timeline on it is going to be soonish, right? Okay, we've got soon trademark. This is soonish, right? Not quite as soon as soon, soonish. You'll all get to give it a spin. For a new player like me, oh my gosh, is that a lot of fun? It's almost Dreadnought-esque in gameplay. I know they don't talk about us, but we're quite happy to talk about them. They exist. They're not going to go anywhere just because we put our fingers in our ears. So Dreadnought's
Slide
team
them under the bed.
stuff. It looks ace. It looks really good fun. We're not going that way. We're going for something a little bit more tactical and methodical and strategic and the rest of it. But that doesn't mean that the two games aren't fun. Anyway, this single lane mode, it does have a bit of that team deathmatchy vibe to it, while still being at a fractured space pace. Does that make sense? Kind of get the feel for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the midway point of that'll be your first engagement with other players. Is that game mode, which happens part way through the new player experience. I'm stealing Jamie's thunder. He's going to want to talk about this in far more depth. So I'll leave it that as far as it's a bit of a teaser coming soon-ish. The actual full launch of a new player experience, unlikely this calendar year, but not far into the next calendar year is my guesstimate at the moment. I mean, I've got a pretty good idea of so here's how matchmaking works, right? So if you were you all in the test last Thursday, or you're at least aware of it? So the way matchmaking works currently is you, as an individual player, hit play game. The game then goes looking for other games that have got people of your level in there. It gives it like 20 seconds to say, is there a game that is of my standard that is currently putting players together? If it doesn't find one within 20 seconds, it broadens out the honor range of those players. Now, honor is all important. Rank is meaningless, absolutely meaningless in skill matching, because your rank will stay with you. So even when we progress wipe, you will retain the rank that you are now. So if you're an admiral now, you may be set back to 0, but you'll still be an admiral. So it's only about honor, and that's since the last leaderboard reset. Now, there's some honor calculation tweaks that are going to be done, and yes, we know there's a couple of stats that aren't being tracked perfectly, but honor is everything, which effectively what it means is over time, people who quit the game all the time are going to end up matching against each other. Because that'll be hilarious of just having the serial quitters against the serial quitters, and it's almost like the second the other team gets the jump on the first match, oh no, stuff this, I'm off. You'll have a whole team quit at once. So if you want to have the most fun experience, don't quit the bloody game, because it will affect you over time. But right now it keeps broadening out and broadening out and broadening out, and then it puts up whatever pool of players is available, because we decided that it was, rather than having you wait 15 minutes and have everybody take to the forums and go, this thing is broken, we'd rather have you get into a game and then let the team balancer deal with everything from there. And the team balancer works. The only reason that it ever had any particular problems with it working is good old F4. And I want to switch. I want to switch with someone who is completely different in terms of skill level. That made all the difference to skill balancing. But the matches we saw last week, I played, I think, 5 or 6, and every single one of them, if you were to look at the mixture of, I mean, this is looking at ranks, which has got obviously no bearing on honor. Just looking at ranks, the sides were pretty well balanced, and I had 3 back-to-back really, really fun games.
I know this was a giant thing for when I was just starting this game. When I wanted to start this game with like 5 of my friends I was playing with. The matchmaking system as it exists now, in its first iteration, I know it's going to get more in depth later on, but we're all excited for the expectations of being able to queue with a friend. That is what makes...
This week
is when you're doing that?
This Thursday's test, the current plan, this Thursday you'll be able to queue with a friend.
With a friend.
This is the next phase of the test. So everybody will be able to queue with one friend, and you'll be matched onto the same team. We'll then expand that out. Yes, 5-on-5 is where we're going to, but small steps. We tried to do the whole thing all at once. If you remember the first test was just like, there were like bits of code flying everywhere and shit exiting the screen, and your mouse would like explode on your desktop.
Right, the first got a little too close to the Reaper shield. You ended up 11 million kilometers off the field.
You get the idea.
Good times.
Yeah,
Good times.
It was. We tried to kind of sprint there before we could walk. So we've been doing it step by step, so that we can actually look at the data afterwards and make sure it's working in the back end. Because as much as we get a shed load of feedback every time we run a test on anything, it's still only from that many people, right? And there are that many people who are experiencing it. Even with our relatively low number of players we have right now, there's still more people talking to us. There's more people who aren't talking to us than those who are. However, through the data that we can harvest from their games, they are still talking to us in some fashion. So we need time to actually analyze that and make sure that actually there's some... It's like you and a chum go into a game as a fixed unit.
See, that to me is really going to improve the new player experience, because this is a team game. Like, if you see this team game, you immediately think, oh, my friend Jiraiya would really like this. He loves space stuff. And then you bring them into the game with you, and you want to be on the same team experiencing it together. So that's just going to make it so much more involved and more personal for them as well.
Fingers crossed. What's the best way to describe it? It's a very manual process at the moment.
Okay.
So Jiraiya, I don't think you'll mind me calling you out on this. You've sent a few reports of people that are skirting the line, let's say, or you've taken offense at something that somebody else has said, and you felt that it was a personal attack on you. And then, through subsequent readings, it feels like it's a minor infringement from where I'm sitting, but that you took it personally doesn't change the impact that's had on you, right? I could say right now, those curtains you've got behind you, don't like them. And you could go, this is a complete assault on my character. Damn you. Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a blanket. Yeah, well.
This blanket is my first blanket.
Your blanket makes terrible curtains. And you could feel that was a complete assault on your character. And you would then report me to the internet police for saying, he assaulted my character by calling out my curtain. And they'd go, okay, that it either is ban-worthy, it's warning-worthy, or it's let's keep an eye on that to make sure it doesn't turn any more frosty. And those are the 3 scales. If we get into, if warning-worthy, a few people have scored a warning already, and you'll notice it most often when I've edited posts retrospectively, because there can be a perfectly good discussion going on. What I don't delete posts unless they are nothing but hate-fueled, bile-filled horrors. I will remove offending sections of posts to say, Ashley, what you're saying there is completely unhelpful. And it's when, members of the community who are largely just discussing part of the game who start taking it too far and saying, well, you would say that, and kind of go, well. that kind of tone when it comes up is just unhelpful. And there is nothing more soul-destroying as a community manager to see, members who are just trying to pull in the best interests of the game, having a minor difference of agreements and making it personal. It's, I'm not talking hostility personal. I'm talking about, minor barbed jabs here and there that some people are going to get upset by. Other people's go, it's just part of banter, isn't it? And you kind of go, yeah, there has to be a line there. So I'll warn when I think that something is going to come that is going to derail the spirit of that topic. But when it gets into ban territory, bans are very, very easy to understand. I mean, it's the one that annoys me more than anything else, and you probably know it already, is someone who is lighting up their own team for playing badly. And you kind of go, that's just not on. There is nothing that is going to ruin someone's experience more than that kind of behavior. You've seen it in other MOBAs, in other multiplayer games. That's where a community gets the rep of being toxic. Is not through at the end of the game me going, ha, I beat you. No, that's not toxic behavior. That's just a little bit of childish gloating. And a certain amount of that is always going to happen. And you know what? It's okay. Most people are never going to go, yeah, all right, yes, thank you. You've had your moment. Thanks for that. But no one needs telling our scum and will reap the rewards of yelling at their own teams. I don't mind a little bit of directed, guys, could we perhaps go B? Even if you are the most senior person in the game, you could be ranked #1 overall and go, can anyone help on A? That's all you need to do. And then you're making it their choice. You're not saying like, help on A now or we'll lose. That's a little bit more angry. You can go to the next step of what's the matter with you? Why aren't you on A? Yep, then we're getting towards, are you clearly stupid? You must be on A right now, or this game is over. Why am I even playing with you people? That's a little bit further down that line. And then you can open up Urban Dictionary and just start lobbing things at the opposing team. So there you go. That's how to go from the kind of player I like into the kind of player I ban in no time flat. If you're at the Urban Dictionary end of the scale there, you will get banned. And how does that manifest itself? So let's back up to the warning stage. If I'm having to repeatedly warn people against certain types of behavior, and that can be, dragging things off topic or sniping or generally being unhelpful, I'll say, after a while I'll go, look, if you don't change the way that you're acting, we'll give you a little breather for you to think about it. And for most people, they'll turn around. But, but if we ban someone for being completely obnoxious and toxic and the rest of it in a game, the first time they'll go for 2 weeks. I don't believe in 24-hour bans. I think that anybody can just kind of go 24 hours. Yeah, fine. I'll just go and, watch some telly and play something else. But 2 weeks gives you the time to miss it. It also gives you the time to not want to come back. And frankly, if I've had to ban you once, there's a high likelihood that it would happen again. So I don't shed too many tears over people who get banned and then don't come back. That's fine. The perfect scenario is they accept the ban, they realise that the behaviour that they were exhibiting was wrong or wasn't welcome, and then they come back. In terms of, if you banning players, there we go. So yeah, if you've been banned, you come back, you've shown no change in your behaviour in the slightest, I'll ban you again. And this time it won't be 2 weeks, I'll do you a month the second time. How's that sound? And then if you come back and you're still being hateful, you're gone. Now, there are some types of abuse that will see you history immediately. I'm not going to go into details of what they are, but a 0 warning, you're out of here, because we don't want you. It's that simple. No, when I went on your podcast, Kurt, I said that my aspiration was to build one of the friendliest communities there are. Still my aspiration, and frankly, if I can kick out everybody who's hateful towards other players, that just helps that goal. Now, don't get me wrong, the only way I'm going to absolutely guarantee that this is the friendliest gaming community on the internet is to ban everybody. If there are no players, it will be more friendly than any other game.
This is very true.
That's not a good business decision. So instead, we're going to keep as many players as we can, and we're going to try and keep it as friendly as we can. Are going to run in one day. They're going to. This is the plan. They will have prize money. Prize money at the other end of it. So there will be prizes of the money fashion for
Wow.
Things just got real.
Things just got really real.
And at the moment, the prize money may be as big as $50 whole. Anyway, tournaments. Yes, right. So we're going to use some of the skins in store as I think Dota Compendium, right? Is anybody who buys one is going to be contributing towards the prize pool. We'll guarantee a minimum, and every time we tip through the minimum that we've guaranteed, we'll inflate it again. Pretty sure it's not going to be popular. One team per clan.
You do realize our clan has about 30 members, and we can field quite a few teams.
Yes, but not in this tournament. You can't. You can field one team. So it's 5 players and 1 alternate. We might even limit it to 5 players. We're going to run enough tournaments so that everybody gets a crack at being in one. The winner in second place will get an auto invite to the next one. But beyond that, it will be we'll gradually build up a seeding pool. We will have 8 places. The second will have 16. If there's the need felt to expand beyond that, we'll expand beyond that. But it's going to run in one day. We're going to try and make it so that it's as internationally friendly as possible. We're not going to ask US players to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll start kind of mid-evening, I guess, for Europe, and then go on until it finishes, which will probably be by kind of 3 a.m. in Europe, I guess. So basically we're going to make it inconvenient for everybody. There is no good time that you can run a worldwide tournament.
No.
It just can't be done. And at the moment, we're not big enough to go, we'll have a European tournament, we'll have an American tournament, we'll put the winners together, because you end up with the one that we just had, where people are still arguing over what, I'm not entirely sure that tournament has finished. I'm pretty sure someone somewhere is still discussing what the right time is to play. As far as rules are concerned, it's going to be the rules I can enforce. And you know what those are? You can use anything in the game. You want to run with 5 hunters? Go for it.
Oh, no. Don't say that.
I don't like that.
I don't know. If the other team is running 5 hunters, and because that's the best ship in the game, or the other team's running 5 sentinels, or 5 carriers, you run 5 carriers as well. That's entirely at your discretion. If there is an overpowered set of ships at the moment, why are you using them? That's fine, but that's not the permanent purpose of the tournament. If nobody streams any of the matches at all, that's fine with me. That's not what we're doing it for. We're not doing this for a viewing audience at the moment. We're doing this to help generate more clans. We want, there are, half a dozen big hitting clans right now? Maybe a couple more, maybe a couple less. But that's not enough. I want 30. I want 30 clans. I want 50 clans. I want 100 clans.
So do we. So do we, mate.
Yes, absolutely.
We do as well.
And that's to build up some diversity of competition and to get some more star player names out there, right? And a lot of good clans at that. Because when we go into the... shall I talk about this now? Yeah, maybe a little bit. When we go into kind of final release, when we go into free to play and it's open and we start running tournaments where the prize money actually makes people go, oh, that's not insignificant. I want to be at the point where we can actually start to make some heroes out of these clans, and in order to do so, I need to start planting those seeds now. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, in the next kind of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we'll do the first one. Can't guarantee that just yet, but that's the hope.
I don't know. It feels like we're not going to see necessarily the best. Well, we'll see maybe the best of Phoenix, for example, but I'm not going to get to see certain other teams that I really wanted to fight. I really, really wanted to get to fight the Phoenix US team, and I'm a little concerned that I'm not going to get to see that if they're going to have to pick just that 5. But on the other hand, I also have the concern it's going to rupture the larger clans, and that we're going to see Phoenix at least pseudo break apart into maybe like the U.S. branch so that they can field a team.
Well, that
yes,
already happened.
Actually, that's quite likely. I'm not going to pretend that isn't the case. I think you will. If let's say that this is experimental for the time being, right? That this is a first pass at how we'd like to do tournaments. Because the thing that makes it for me is that in an 8-team tournament, you have 8 teams in there. You don't have 4 teams coming from one organisation because they happen to be. You don't have Manchester United, Manchester United A, Manchester United B, Manchester United C in the Premiership. That's crap. What I want to see is 8 different teams. Now, if that means that there is some fragmentation that goes on in some of the larger clans right now, well, it doesn't have to be that way, gang. Yes, you will be known by separate identities, but there's no reason at all that you couldn't be sister clans, right? That there is they're your scrimmage partners. They're however you want to describe it, but they are, for all intents and purposes, separate entities. It will figure itself out over time. We're going to talk about it this week. Don't know that the date of the wipe we don't have locked in place yet. Basically, if you have hit this level in terms of your progress, right? Let's see this level here. If you've hit that level, you will unlock a unique skin that is never going to be available in any other way, right? If you hit that level. If you hit this level, right over here, sit, all right, you will unlock not only that skin, oh no, you'll also unlock this skin. Ooh, never going to be available.
Do you realize?
But wait. There's more.
If
you unlock this one, right? That's a really good skin. So basically there's 3 different tiers. The further you are through the progression system, the more of the skins you unlock.